You ever have those days where your body shows up, but your spirit is on empty, where even your ambition seems to have hit the snooze button? You're doing all the right things, going to class, working the job, helping people, but deep down, you're drained. I came to tell somebody today, I know you're tired, but tired doesn't mean finished. Tired doesn't mean finished. Feeling weary is a sign of effort, not defeat. You're still in the fight. I know you're tired, but listen, your mind gets tired before your purpose does. That's what the enemy knows. That's what life knows. That's what your past knows. They know if they can get your mind, they don't need your body. They don't need to stop your purpose, they just need to convince you it's not working, that it's not worth it, that it's not you. And if they can get you to believe that, they don't have to destroy your calling. They just have to exhaust your confidence. You ever noticed how some days you didn't even do anything yet and you're already tired? You wake up tired. Not in your legs, not in your back, but in your soul. That's not physical fatigue. That's mental warfare. That's the weight of wondering if what you're doing even matters. That's the battle of trying to show up every day for a life you're not even sure you're winning in. And I need you to know that's not failure, that's friction, and friction doesn't mean something's wrong. It means something is moving. Your mind has been running marathons, overthinking, overanalyzing, second, guessing, scrolling, comparing. You're in class, but your thoughts are in chaos. You're in church, but your brain is in battle, and you're wondering why you're tired. It's because the war is up here, and nobody sees it. Nobody applauds it, but God knows it. God sees how hard it is to keep showing up with a smile while your inner world is screaming for silence. But listen, you're still showing up, you're still here, and that means something is still working. That's why Romans 12:2 doesn't say be transformed by changing your situation. It says be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Because God knows the problem isn't always what's around you. It's what's within you. The tired mind tells you to quit when the spirit is ready to conquer. The tired mind says it's too late, when your purpose is saying it's just beginning. So what do? You renew, you speak life, you fight the fog with faith. You stop asking your tired mind for permission to live a purposeful life. You may not feel strong, but you are sustained. You may not feel clear, but you are called. And when your thoughts grow tired, your truth must grow louder. Your mind gets tired before your purpose does. Fatigue often attacks your thoughts before it affects your calling. You can be tired and still chosen. Let that hit you for a second. You can be weary in your walk and still anointed for the assignment. Don't you dare confuse exhaustion with exclusion. Just because you feel like collapsing doesn't mean God canceled your calling. He didn't choose you because you'd never get tired. He chose you knowing you would. He chose you knowing there would be nights you'd cry yourself to sleep. He chose you knowing there'd be mornings where getting out of bed felt like lifting the weight of the world. And still, He called you. Still, He put something inside you that tiredness can't take away. See, we live in a culture that tells us the called ones are the confident ones, the strong ones, the polished ones, but the Bible shows us something different. Elijah called down fire from heaven, then ran away, curled up under a bush, and said, God, I can't take this anymore. Moses split a sea, but told God, please, not me, I can't speak right. Jesus in the garden said, my soul is overwhelmed to the point of death. And still, they were chosen. Still, they fulfilled purpose. Still, they changed the course of history. So what makes you think that your tiredness disqualifies you? Let me tell you what the enemy wants you to believe. He wants you to think that because you're tired, because you're doubting, because you're unsure, that must mean you're off track. But can I flip that for you? What if the tiredness is not proof that you're failing, but confirmation that you're fighting? that you're pushing through resistance most people would have already surrendered to, that you're carrying weight not because you're weak, but because you're trusted. Don't believe the lie that says fatigue means you're falling apart. Sometimes it means you're carrying something heavy, and sometimes carrying purpose is heavy. Sometimes walking in obedience is exhausting, but the oil still flows on tired vessels. The blessing still rests on broken people. The fire of your calling can still burn when your body is barely moving. You are not disqualified by your fatigue. You are not removed from the plan because of your exhaustion. You are still chosen, still equipped, still in it, still carrying more glory than you can even feel right now. Tired is the threshold of break. Through some of the greatest breakthroughs happen right after the point of exhaustion. Tired is the threshold of breakthrough. You hear me, tired is not where you stop. It's where you push. It's the line where most people quit, but it's also the line where heaven starts to move. The devil doesn't come at you hardest when you're weak. He comes when you're close. Close to healing, close to restoration, close to clarity. He senses it before you see it. So he turns up the heat right before the break. Breaks through. And if he can get you to quit at tired, you'll never see the other side of trust. You've been pressing, and it feels like nothing's changing. You've been praying, and the silence feels louder than the voice of God. You've been working, but the reward still feels far off. And in that place, right there, is the temptation to say, this isn't working. But what if it's not that it's not working? What if it's that you're standing at the threshold? You're at the edge of the shift. You're standing on the border of what was and what will be, and it feels like breaking. Because it is, breaking barriers, breaking cycles, breaking limitations. You are being stretched so your capacity can catch up to your calling. Think about it. When a seed is about to sprout, the moment before it breaks the ground is when it's under the most pressure. When a mother is about to give birth, the greatest pain hits right before the baby arrives. When a rocket leaves the earth, the most energy is spent not in space, but in breaking the atmosphere. And you're telling me your tiredness means it's over. No, your tiredness might mean you're almost there. That pressure you're feeling, it's not punishment, it's positioning. You've been standing firm, and it's cost you. It's cost you sleep. It's cost you peace. It's cost you friends. But what's coming on the other side of this is going to show you why it was worth every ounce of the fight. Galatians 6:9 says, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." It doesn't say if we do it perfectly. It doesn't say if we feel strong the whole time. It says if we do not give up. So don't stop now. Don't let tired trick you out of triumph. You can be tired and still chosen. God's plan doesn't cancel just because you're worn out. You can be tired and still chosen. You can be uncertain and still appointed. You can feel like you've got nothing left and still be walking in the exact will of God for your life. Don't let the lie of perfection fool you into thinking that exhaustion means elimination. God doesn't call the ones who feel the most capable. He calls the ones who keep showing up. The ones who limp to the battlefield, the ones who cry between assignments, the ones who pray, "God, I don't know how to keep going," and still take one more step. You think being tired makes you unworthy? Look at the Word. God chose Moses even after he said, "I'm not enough." He used Gideon while he was hiding. He picked Peter even though Peter denied him, and he kept pouring purpose into Paul. Even when Paul had a thorn, he begged God to remove. They were tired, they were flawed, they were weak, and they were still chosen. So what makes you think your low energy voids your identity? It doesn't. The call doesn't lift just because your strength does. In fact, sometimes God allows you to feel tired to remind you that your strength never came from you in the first place. Oh, you thought it was your grind, your discipline, your momentum. No. It's been grace all along. Grace is what's been carrying you when your willpower ran dry. Grace is what's been sustaining you in rooms you didn't feel ready for. Grace is why you're still here, still breathing, still fighting, still dreaming. Tired doesn't disqualify you. In fact, sometimes it qualifies you even more because only the tired know what it means to trust strength that's not their own. Let me speak this into your spirit. Your feeling does not cancel your favor. Just because you don't feel chosen doesn't mean you're not. The oil still flows over empty vessels. The anointing still rests on the weary. Sometimes the most powerful move of God happens when you have nothing left, because that's when it's clear that it was never about you to begin with. So don't back away because you feel worn out. You're not running on fumes. You're running on faith. You're not forgotten. You're still favored. You're not too tired to matter. You're still the one He called. Rest is not weakness. It's strategic. Even Jesus withdrew to rest. So can you? So should you. Rest is not weakness. It's strategy. Listen to me. The world will try to convince you that grinding yourself into the ground is the mark of greatness. That if you're not hustling 24/7, you must not want it bad enough. That if you rest, you're falling behind. But that's not wisdom. That's burnout dressed in ambition. That's pride pretending to be purpose. Because even Jesus, the Son of God, miracle worker, storm, stiller, water, walker, even He withdrew. Even He said, "Let us go off by ourselves and rest." And you think you can run non-stop without consequence. You think your body, your mind, your soul can take blow after blow without recovery. No, rest is holy. Rest is warfare. Rest is wisdom. Rest is where you reset your mind and recalibrate your identity. Rest reminds you that you're not just a machine for output. You're a child of God with value apart from your performance. You need rest not because you're lazy, but because you're limited. And that's not a flaw. That's a fact. You were never meant to be your own source. You were never designed to be God. So stop acting like your entire world will collapse if you take a break. Because the truth is, rest doesn't cost you progress, it protects it. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't fight battles if your armor's falling off because you're too tired to hold it up. You can't love people well, lead well, learn well, if your soul is screaming for stillness and you keep pushing like you're invincible. That's not leadership, that's slow suicide. Rest is the boundary that honors your humanity. It's not quitting, it's training. Athletes rest between games. Soldiers rest between battles. Trees rest between seasons. And you think rest makes you soft. No, rest makes you stronger for the next round. Let me say it like this. The devil doesn't just attack through chaos. He attacks through exhaustion. Because when you're tired, you make decisions from survival instead of strategy. When you're tired, you settle for what's convenient instead of what's called. So what if rest isn't weakness at all? What if it's warfare? What if the most powerful thing you could do right now is not keep pushing, but pause, recharge, and come back with fire in your spirit instead of fumes in your lungs? You don't lose momentum. By resting, you lose it. By ignoring the need to. Speak to the tired version of you. Train your inner voice to talk faith, not fatigue. You've got to learn to speak to the tired version of you, not just the motivated you, not just the energized, inspired, fresh out of a sermon you. No, I'm talking about the version of you that's dragging, doubting, drained, the version of you that wants to shut the blinds, throw the phone across the room, and disappear. The one that doesn't feel like reading another page, saying another prayer, sending another email, writing another line. That's the version that needs your voice the most, because if you only speak faith when you feel strong, you're not building discipline. You're just riding emotion. But if you can speak life when all you feel is death, if you can speak purpose when all you see is pressure, now you're walking in power. You've got to catch your inner dialogue slipping. You've got to call out your own thoughts like, "Hold up, who told me I'm not enough? Who told me it's too late? Who told me I'll never make it out of this?" Because that's not God's voice, that's fear, that's fatigue, that's the enemy disguising defeat as realism. And if you're not careful, you'll start agreeing with a lie just because it sounds familiar. But the word says life and death are in the power of the tongue, not just the tongue that speaks to others, but the tongue that speaks to yourself. Sometimes your breakthrough is one conversation away, but not with anybody else, with you. You've got to get in the mirror and say, "I might be tired, but I'm still standing. I might be hurting, but I haven't quit. I might not feel strong, but the strength of God is made perfect in my weakness." You've got to learn to prophesy to your own fatigue. Encourage yourself like David did when no one else was around. Train your soul to respond to faith, not to feelings, because here's the truth. You will have moments where nobody claps, nobody texts, nobody shows up. And in those moments, the only voice you'll have is yours. So make it count. Don't let your tired mind speak permanent words into a temporary moment. Don't let discouragement do the talking. Let truth speak. Let grace speak. Let boldness rise even when your energy doesn't. Because sometimes the strength you need isn't found in your body, it's found in your confession.